my advice to people always.
I haven't played all my sets every day, which is something I normally do, which does contribute
I mean,
a lot to my climbing.
I would say, I mean, you don't have to play all your sets, but I would say like, yeah, like you don't. I mean, majority of them, but
yeah, no, it does help.
Sometimes I don't.
If you're doing well, it helps.
Yeah, I mean, usually, I mean, yeah, you're eating wrong.
I've started going. By the way, standard disclaimer: if you're watching the VOD, we do just talk for 10 minutes to let viewers seep into the stream. So if you don't want to watch the scuffling around, then skip ahead to at least the 10-minute mark. But anyway, I have started climbing a little bit with a team of Whiscash, Vigoroth, and Shadow Dragonair. So that's like the first time.
Okay.
The first time I've actually like gotten some momentum this season.
I mean, that's a pretty. Yeah, it's like kind of a. I mean, there's a team right now with Poliwrath instead of Vigoroth that I think some people are running. So it's like a pretty normal sounding team. Should be
so like
probably mostly
grass
fine.
lead, right? ABA grass.
Oh, water, I guess it would be.
So yeah, ABA. Yeah, thinking weak to grass. Hey, Angelus. Welcome in.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to see a Victory Bell or something with that team, but.
Or a Whimsicott or a.
Oh
Venusaur.
yeah, King faced multiple Whimsicott. He lost. Yeah. He lost all Whimsicott he faced. He's running that team right now in Serene. I mean, I'm sure Vigoroth doesn't necessarily help you versus a Whimsicott lead that much, but maybe a little bit.
I did manage to beat a Whimsicott lead last night. By switching it to Vigoroth, and they just didn't switch out.
They were probably running things weak to counter in the back, so
probably. I forget what it was. I enjoyed my Christmas. How was yours, Angela?
Yeah, Christmas was pretty good. Just wrapping up here. Second stream of the day.
Look at us hustlers. Hey, Amber.
Well, first stream for you. How's it going?
Well, the second stream in 12 hours.
Yeah, but you got to sleep. I did have a little bit of a nap, actually.
Okay, nice. Because you had to get up so disgustingly early for the first one.
It wasn't that early, but I was like a little tired, so had a bit of a nap. So hopefully tonight, go to bed at like a normal time because I'm back at work tomorrow. So hopefully my internal clock is back to normal.
How long did you have off?
Just 4 days.
Okay. I mean, 4 days is pretty good.
So Saturday, Sunday, and then obviously is the weekend. Then Monday, Tuesday is the holidays. Then I'm back for 3 days, and then next weekend's another long weekend. So, because we get the first off for the New Year's, so
at that
just
point,
3 day work
might
week.
As well just have the whole why do they make you come back for those 3 days? Might as well just.
I don't know. They're paying me, I guess. So. I mean, I didn't want to take any time off because I need my vacation time. So. Yeah. Basically, that's how. Well, just in general, like I had 2 days left. I mean, it's not that big a deal. My girlfriend's off right now, actually, for work, so she's watching the dog. So, I mean, she'll probably want me to go to work anyway, so she can get a break from me. So.
Amber went back to work today. What do you do, Amber? I don't think I've ever asked you.
Yeah, it sounds like an American thing. They don't get Boxing Day. Oh, on the 26th. Who works on the 26th? Retail? Then, I mean, you definitely work on the 26th.
100%.
Never mind.
Oh, that'd be a miserable day.
Yeah, it's probably really busy. So, I think most of the shopping we did was online. So,
the largest retail company, Walmart. There'd be more.
Wait, is that the largest retail company?
Is it? I would say so.
How would I know?
Nailed it.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So funny. I think of like Walmart. Like they're more like, I don't know. They do like everything nowadays, right?
Yeah. Can't you pick up guns at Walmart?
Not in Canada.
Yeah.
In the States, I would say yes, depending on the location.
Shocker! Wow.
Yeah, depending on the location. Yeah, I mean, different states probably have different rules and all sorts of stuff like that. That's typically how it works in the U.S. Yeah, not handguns. You can't kill people with shotguns. Only handguns. So don't sell handguns. Shotguns are fine though.
Yeah. It's an interesting distinction to draw.
Yeah, shotguns never killed nobody. That's what I heard.
Anyway, I don't want to say anything else.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna quickly go grab one of my wake up pills.
I think yes, certain places, I mean, you know, the states, like different regions have different laws and everything. Yeah, did they ban Arachnid? Oh yes, they did. Get fucked, dude. I love this meta so much, dude. I freaking love this meta. They banned my favorite Pokemon to get banned. Yo, what's up, Dugong Pokemon Kush? Welcome in. So psychic types and normal types are allowed, but they banned like a lot of the like OP ones, like Lickitung, Metacham, Poliwrath. Like I think it's pretty good for the meta for them to ban like, I mean, it's a pretty big ban list, but it like kind of opens up the meta to some more like interesting play as opposed to everyone just running like Poliwrath, Lickitung on every team, right? So I definitely think the bans are nice.
I'm disappointed that Chansey's banned.
Arachnid was banned. That's what Manadudon was pissed about.
Yeah, I saw that. Point was less RPS, totally. Yeah, because like my first thought when I saw those typings was, well, Obstagoon, 100%, but then yeah, I see it on the ban list.
Yeah, Obstagoon's banned, and obviously Scrafty is not a typing that's allowed. So, and they banned Dubwell. So if you actually look, they added 2 counter users, which I guess they did that on purpose because of possibly their bulk and their coverage moves might not be as like overpowered as some of the other counter users they banned, but still able to balance the meta a little bit.
I mean, so we're getting into it now. Should we have our official start?
What time? How long have we been going for?
Only 8 minutes.
I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about before we start?
We can talk about guns more.
Well, we don't have many guns in Canada, so I mean, most of the handguns and things like that. Well, pretty much all the handguns are smuggled in from the U.S. and the only things they really have here are basically like hunting rifles and some shotguns or whatever that people are using specifically for hunting. Yeah. So they don't really have much leeway for anything recreational in Canada. That's fortunately and unfortunately, depending on, I guess, your
perspective,
the side you're on. But well, I know Australia had a big thing in Tasmania back in like the 70s or 80s or some shit. There was like a big, maybe that was the 90s,
late 80s or early 90s, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that was like the start of like big heavy gun regulation in Australia. I know about that story. So
it was controversial at the time. Like there was a lot of pushback against it, but
of course.
We didn't have, and like anyone watching, I'm not making any sort of political stance here. I'm just trying to be as factual as possible. Like we didn't have an NRA there, like a big powerful gun lobby to push back against it. So kind of the politicians who were pushing for the gun reform ended up winning out. and so basically all weapons except like that's all semi and fully automatic weapons have been banned, as well as all handguns, unless you're like in law enforcement.
Yeah, so the problem with that, Frey, is, I mean, you say you have no problem with it, just the idiots. I mean, sure, but like, when there's no control, like, then you have no control of where these things are moving, right? So, I mean, and I've been in this world a little bit, and I know that there's more idiots than non-idiots. So, just in general, I mean, I work with people I work with. Most of them seem like they're idiots. So, I mean, you can only imagine in a country that's that, like any country really that's that large. There's probably a lot of people that don't quite have a good grasp on those types of things. So.
All right, well, that's kicked us over the mark. We're at 11 minutes now.
We're at 11 minutes. Conversation over.
I mean, look,
now
if we say something super controversial, at least the video will go viral.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, no press is bad press. That's what they always say, right? And I'm a Canadian. They literally can't do anything. Although hopefully they don't block me from coming into the country if I need to go to a regional.
That would be amazing.
All right, isn't this Lyle Jeffs? Did he say something bad about guns? Ain't no way he's coming down to Mississippi. Oh, God, I'm in trouble. Okay, so what I was looking at initially was counter users, because if you look, yeah, see, now Manduga's gonna win Knoxville because I'm not gonna be allowed in Tennessee.
You ruined it, Lyle.
Yeah, unfortunately. So if you see here, they banned like pretty much all the strong counter users like Goon, Vigoroth, Poliwrath, Metachamp. Metachamp's probably like very good. They even banned Double. That's a double kick user, not quite a counter user, but double kick. But they added these two other counter users, Conquillador and Hitmontop, and the main other counter user in the meta is obviously Defense Deoxys, which looks pretty strong.
So I'm not minding Conquillador for the Brutal Swing coverage.
Yeah, it's got Brutal Swing. You have Stone Edge. Hitmontop also has Stone Edge. Hitmontop also has access to Triple Axle, so you'll be able to boost your counter damage. So, and also Gyro Ball you probably don't want. Close combat, I guess, depending on this situation. Again, as we said earlier, it's like a factions based format. And
okay, Mountain Dugong saying there was DD Azu everywhere in his practice tournaments.
Yeah, DD and Azu, yeah. So that would, like, I think Azu is pretty fun. Yeah, DD and Azu on the same team. I mean, what is the matchup here? It's a 344 against Azu. This one's a 328. This one's a 400. The Shadow version of the Hitmontop.
Into what?
Into Azu. Like a Stone Edge is doing almost 40%. This is the Shadow Hitmontop. So like, oh, technically it says here, if you can bait successfully, you can actually win the twos. That's interesting. You guys start getting some triple axles off. The Stone Edge has 56% double boosted.
Well, I mean, when are they ever gonna shield?
They probably wouldn't shield the first one, yeah. But you do win the 1-0s. You can kill with 2 Stone Edges before they get to an Ice Beam and a Play Rough, so that's something. With the Shadow. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not great, but it's definitely something to consider.
Alolan Raichu looking alright then, and Jellicent though. So I'm looking at the DD and Azure core, which is pretty good. Like it's a C for coverage, but Jellicent #1 in the meta will beat both of them.
Jellicent's a strange Pokemon because it seems like it has some interesting dynamics, but it also has like a lot of things that like seem like they'd do pretty well against it. Like you have Raticate as a #2 Pokemon. Like that thing probably does pretty well in the Jellicent is my guess. You have like Greninja here. I doubt it. I mean, what are you gonna run? Bite?
With a lot of psychics around.
Nah, man, you're not gonna run Bite. Because you can actually like to look at this is why I think it's ranked so high. Because like even the Azu matchup, like
it's not the worst.
It's like a sort of like Sableye thing. Like return does 43%. The quick attacks are sort of adding up. So you can actually like put in quite a bit of work here against Azu. Because Play Rough is doing 54%. So yeah, that's an interesting pick for sure. The Alolan Raticate. But if you see here, like Jellicent, like we have the Raticate, you have Greninja, Raichu, Malamar, Mew, I guess probably does fine. Farfetch is one of the flying types that has Leaf Blade. This is a Kanto Farfetch. So
is that level 50?
Yeah, you need a hundo basically, and it gets to like almost 14. Like it'll get over 1400 with like a best buddy boost. And this one I think is only available in Japan. So
yeah.
Basically, I believe during the Kanto tour, it was like available in raids. So maybe somebody has like a hundo or something. Possibly. I think the XLs are pretty accessible. Since it's the same XLs for the other Farfetch, which people probably have a decent amount of access to, the Galarian one. So I think you might see Pokemon around this Farfetch'd. Interesting that it loses to Alolan Raticate and Azu. I guess Azu has Ice Beam and your fast move being Fury Cutter. Yeah, Azu survives 2 Leaf Blades. Ice Beam does 61%, Leaf Blade does 33%.
So Alolan Raichu doesn't do too badly against Raticate, but it's in the Sims it's shielding the first Trailblaze, whereas if you let the first move go as the Raticate, then you're definitely gonna win.
You can get to another, like you shield the Trailblaze and the Wild Charge basically like one hits you, right?
Yeah. Plus
I mean,
so it does a boosted Wild Charge does I think it said 69%.
And like a Crunch probably does more than that just by itself. So
78.
I mean, like Crunch is like doing a lot. So I mean, it's playable at least, but it's not a situation I would necessarily want to be in as the Raichu if I could avoid it. I would still rather be the Raticate. You know what I'm saying?
So I've probably played that by. If you switch into Raichu and they counter with Eradicate, you just build to 100 and then throw the Trailblaze and the Wild Charge back to back. Because then by then, you've done so much damage with your Volt Switches that it does pressure them into trying to shield the first move.
Yeah, like I mean, if you are running Trailblaze,
you would run Thunder Punch?
I mean, you can run whatever.
Yeah.
Trailblaze Wild Charge is a little awkward. It's like... It's one of the clunkier movesets for Raichu, right? Trailblaze being what, 50 energy?
Yeah.
So, saying here it's 4 to the first Trailblaze, and then 3 to the next. Thunder Punch just makes like a little easier for baiting and stuff. I guess it depends on your opponent's team, what they have, right?
Yeah.
Trailblaze helps, I guess, for some of the ground types like Wishcash, yeah. Which looks pretty okay. I guess you could potentially throw it at like a Jellicent or Azzy so you don't have to debuff yourself, but I mean, you could also just throw a Thunder Punch, right?
And I think it's looking pretty good.
I just don't like how it's the pacing on Trailblaze Wild Charge. That's my only hesitation on that moveset, is it's like not the fastest. You know what I'm saying? Like, where if you look at the meta, you got a lot of things that are pretty spammy. So you could just end up being outpaced by things, but
so many of them are so hurt by just the bolt switches. So like your Jellicent, your Azumarill, your Pelipper, your Greninja.
Your Diggersby.
Hey, Quad.
Oh, look at Diggersby still beats Raichu even with Trailblaze. Look at that.
I'm not surprised by that in the slightest.
You don't even make the second Trailblaze. In this sim, they're shielding a Wild Charge. That feels real bad. You can win the 2-0 with Trailblaze.
Let's go.
That is also against Mudshot. I wonder if a quick attack is like slow. It's recommending Hyper Beam. I don't know. I always like, maybe Mudshot's better against the ghost types. You'd have to see if there's not many flying types, but I always liked running quick attack on Diggersby. Like, and then I usually ran like Fire Punch because it's like a bit lower energy, so you can hit some things with that if you don't need to land like a full what do you call it? Like a full Scorching Sands on them.
And Diggersby the top-rated closer in the meta.
It's good. Diggersby's really strong. Like even into Azu and stuff like that, you think it's like a hard counter, but if you start getting those, it's I think 30% debuff for Scorching Sand. Like Diggersby basically beats Deoxys straight up. Like, and like Deoxys has to start shielding. Like Pelipper is something you lose, but if you are running quick attack, it's like a lot better because you can actually like do fast move damage to them, right? It's not bad, but it's not good, but what is this core?
This is Pelipper Diggersby.
I mean, that's a pretty classic core, right? Pelipper plus a ground type, like.
A quick attack, Fire Punch, and Scorching Sands, huh?
That's what I would run, but I mean, I think it just depends on also the team you're going up against.
Look at that.
What, is it worse or better?
No, that's better. Look at that. A for coverage.
Quick attack does like actual damage.
Yeah.
When you're doing like the only thing it's worse against is basically would be against like a Jellicent. I think you definitely want to have some sort of flying type on your team in this meta. Basically, because I did some practice tournaments and stuff, and like you're definitely going to want to put some sort of flying type on your team because that will help you a lot with the Mud Boys. Because if you look at that, like at grass, like there's grass coverage, but there's no like grass type, right? So like the Mud Boys are like pretty strong. So the only thing that really kind of like does well against them is like flying types.
Gotta watch out for the gliding types.
Yeah, the gliding types. So you have Pelipper here, right? Obviously, where we're talking about it. Farfetch is interesting because of the coverage you have, but you're basically losing to all of their flying types because of it. You know, you have Fury Cutter, Leaf Blade, Aerial Ace, so you're resisted fast move damage. And your only neutral charge move against other flying types is Aerial Ace. I guess so. If it is Pelipper, you can throw Leaf Blades at it, right? So that's something to consider.
Yeah.
It says here you are beating Alolan Raichu with Eradicate, which is interesting. But again, that's probably without Thunder Punch, right?
That's right.
So basically, Leaf Blades will KO here. So if we put on Thunder Punch here, does that change anything? Yeah, then you lose, right? Because then it's very close. It's super close, like 2 HP. So I guess it could be IV dependent. Oh, this is default IVs too. Okay, it's like 6 HP if they have like a really good one. So it seems like a pretty bad one could potentially win that. Maybe if you have the best buddy boost. How does that change anything? No. Doesn't really change too much, so... Something to consider. But yeah, like if you look at the other flying types, some of these are pretty lowly ranked. Not sure how good these things will be, but you do have. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Noctowl, its pacing is not great now because of the when they buff or nerf Sky Attack. So it's 766, I believe, till Sky Attack now.
Yeah.
But the coverage is nice. The Shadow Ball Sky Attack coverage seems like good coverage for the meta.
How does it do against
I would
DD?
say you typically are beating you're typically losing to Deoxys, but I believe you can win like the 2 shields or something like that. So you're saying here you're losing, but you are able to win the 2 shield, yeah. Because basically, just over time, the wing attacks kind of put them into sort of like Shadow Ball range, right?
Yeah.
And then they are unable to get to like a 3rd Thunderbolt with all the wing attacks.
Yeah.
And the Shadow Ball.
And you do outpost move by 1.
Yeah, well, it's 8-7,
For
alternating, I
Shadow
believe.
Ball, it's just 777.
Oh, I was talking about Thunderbolt, sorry.
That's
Thunderbolt's 55 energy.
That's 888 every time.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was 8-7.
No, because you're getting to 8 counters gives you 56 energy, so that's 1 residual.
Oh, it is 8. Okay. Well then, good to know. Why did I think it was 8-7? I mean, that's weird, but whatever. Yeah, it's 7-6 for Rock Slide.
8-7.
Oh, thank you so much. I know that. Pelipper lead, swap, switch. I mean,
yeah, so
Freya, I would say like you can't really say anything until you see your opponent's team, right? Like this is a show 6 format, right? So I would say your strategy should be based on what your opponent's Pokemon are, not what you think's strong in the meta, right? Doesn't matter if you think Pelipper is the strongest flyer in the meta. If opponent brings 3 counters to Pelipper, then it might be a little tricky for you to run, right?
What I'm worried about with Pelipper is its bait dependency. But I mean, that's nothing new, right? That's always been the case with Pelipper.
Yeah, but Pelipper's pretty good into Azu, which is nice. Compared, whereas some of the other flyers are taking super effective ice beams, right? So I would say basically like Pelipper, Farfetch, Noctowl look like the 3 strongest flyers. Maybe there's something else that will jump out. Rufflet, Swallow just don't have the coverage for some of the electric types, like especially, right?
That's
so
also
you're
going
to
get Jellicent, because Jellicent will beat Pelipper wins against Jellicent, but only if it's successfully baits.
Yeah, it's like a fluid matchup, right? Yeah. It can kind of go either way depending how both trainers play it. It's fairly neutral. Yeah, Ichu does beat a lot of the meta. That's why we were saying we definitely think you should bring. That's why we're saying I think personally you should definitely have some sort of ground type on your team, whether that be Diggersby or Wishcash is also ranked pretty high. Other thing I would note is like Wishcash is ranked 31st, but again, these Pokemon with 50% debuff moves tend to sim lower than they actually are because of the way PvPoke does their Matrix and their Sims, they will never give you the debuff on the first Scald. They will always give it to you on the second Scald. So just getting the debuff on the first Scald is going to flip and like turn a lot of matchups that PvPoke might say you're going to lose into like a more positive one, right?
So Shadow Cache essential is what I'm hearing?
I don't know. I don't think it matters either way. Like if you look at some of the matchups here, like if you go Matrix, Fish Cache. I always like the regular cache because of the bulk of it, but I mean, Shadow probably definitely has its pros and cons. Okay, what is this? Serene. So it says the Shadow can pick up Azu, Rainy Castform, Munchlax, Staraptor, and Swampert, but you end up losing to like Gastrodon, Hibbantop, Malamar, Quagsire, Alolan Raticate you're losing to. So there's definitely a trade-off. And let's see here. If we go to the twos, the Shadow still actually performs slightly worse. You're just trading off certain matchups. So I think it could go either way.
Matchups that Shadow Cache is getting, I think, are a little more important than the regular there.
Yeah, but those are not like, I mean, Jellicent and Noctowl. Again, like Noctowl is basically just going to be debuff dependent. I'm pretty sure a normal Wish Cache can be Noctowl too. It's just going to come down to like debuffing, and Jellicent as well. You're already winning the one shield, I'm pretty sure, against Jellicent. So even some trainers are so bold to just throw Scalds at water types, attempting to get debuffs.
I've done it.
So okay, so it says here you win the zeros. You get the 3 Mud Bombs against Jellicent. The Shadow is only winning the 2s. And the regular is only winning the 0s. So I don't know either way. I think I would still go for the regular, but I think it's like basically a personal preference thing. Again, this is not like an RPS matchup, right? This is any sort of shield or energy advantage on either side can greatly tip the scales in one side. Shadow Wigglytuff? Yeah, Shadow Wigglytuff would be kind of nuts. For sure.
So, I've chucked in... So, I've gone with, I think it was Quad was talking about Pelipper, Diggersby, and Deoxys. And then I've chucked in Jellicent, Whiscash, and Raichu. That feels wrong. It turns up fine on the threat list.
Says you're weak to Greninja.
Yeah, that's... I mean, like, it says Greninja's beating Aichu, but, like, come on. Come on.
Well, you're going to have to invest shields. It's kind of neutral, right? Greninja has Night Slash. Raichu has the Volt Switch, so... I mean...
Yeah, so you get to the second Night Slash in the ones.
Yeah, so they basically have to invest both shields to switch it down, right? Which is fine. But like, let's not pretend like a Pokemon that can deal super effective damage can't flip a matchup against Alolan Raichu. We all know how glassy that thing is, right?
I'm just saying, like, in this threat list, I wouldn't pay too much mind to the fact that it says Greninja's beating all of these Pokemon, because it's like so many of them have play, like the Pelipper, the Aichu in particular, the Whiscash.
Well, you have Gastrodon here as a Mud Boy, and it says it's basically consistently beating Jellicent, Azu. I don't know if Jellicent might be bait dependent. If you're baiting a Body Slam, yeah. I mean, you might not have to with the buffed Mud Slap. No, you don't have to. So that's good to know. And it looks like it is winning CMP over Jellicent pretty handily. So you can basically win just the ones according to this. I'm assuming you win the twos if you keep baiting body slams, basically. Yeah. So it's like possible, but the mud slaps are doing 8 damage. So 5%. Interesting. And this thing obviously does pretty well in the Raichu minus that what is it called? But then you start losing to some of the flying types, etc., because of the mud slaps. So could be potentially a little RPS.
There's probably room for both mud boys, I guess, because like you said, there's not much grass around.
One Pokemon that looks really good is Oinkalone. The female one specifically, as we already talked about in the previous meta. It does have access to Trailblaze as well as a grass type, and it has Tackle. So Tackle actually looks pretty good in this meta. If you look at things that resist Tackle, you have Ghost. So you basically have Jellicent, which is the #1 Pokemon, but at least you do have the Trailblaze. And as you see here, it does beat the Oinkalone, but the battle rating is 579. So that's a Tackle user, making it pretty close, right? And apparently Oinkalone can win the twos. If they don't shield the first Trailblaze, you can just go straight Body Slam apparently after that wild. And flip that matchup. Yeah. So Oinkalone looks really good. Because again, what else resists normal steel types, right? Well, if you look here, you don't have very many steel types, like Bronzong and Polion are basically the two relevant ones. And what else? Rock, I guess. So you do have Barbarical, but again, these are rock water types. They're gonna get one hit by I think it's saying here that it's beating Oinkalone, but like again, this Trailblaze is doing 80%. So it's not like Oinkalone can't like make that uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, totally.
And I legit saw Elite play the zeros with Oinkalone. Please say right, Oink-a-loiny.
I don't know about that, Quad.
The hell, dude? Oinkalone. Like cologne.
Yeah.
Oink-cologne. Like cologne.
Or it could be
That's how I'm saying it. No. I literally watched Elite play this out with Deoxys. It's saying it's losing here. Dude, he legit, like no joke, he Trailblazed first and then Body Slammed and tackled the Deoxys down in the zeros.
Yeah, wow.
Like this thing is crazy. Because like the Trailblaze, so your tackles are going from 2 damage. Okay, it's still doing 2 damage apparently. Okay, this is double Psycho Boost. I don't think they're ever gonna double Psycho Boost, right? Like they're always gonna throw like a T-Bolt or something, right? Like why would you?
I find the most common play is like the Psycho Boost and dip. Like build to 2, then throw 1 and dip out, save the other Psycho Boost for later.
Oh, this is a default. Why is it giving me default spreads? Strange.
It's a play on lechon, ham in Spanish, and then so you pronounce that word baloney, even though it's spelled Bologna. Is that right?
Yeah, baloney.
That's English is weird.
I thought it was cologne. So like this is a little bit of a weird sim here. This is basically like as a counter swap. Okay, why isn't it letting me through the body slam? This is basically like as a counter swap. Like if the DD swaps into the Oinkalone as like a counter swap, you can literally like Trailblaze and then you make it to like a body slam if you have like a little bit of an energy lead. and you actually win the zeros. And it's also saying here you win the twos. Straight body slam. I mean, they're also psycho boosting a shit ton at the end here. But look at how much the tackles are doing. Like, the tackles are doing 2%. The counters are doing 4.7%. So, like, one counter is doing 5%. Two tackles are doing 4%. Because DD is... DD is so... What is going on?
I've gone to a Pokemon pronunciation guide. It is Cologne.
See? Bro, come on, dude. Come on, dude. I know what I'm talking about.
Even a broken clock, right?
Yes. But I'm not broken.
You're not broken. You're busted.
Yes. Well, no, that's the old meme. The new meme is bald. I'm bald and famous.
Right.
Give it to times, Fish. Yeah, so very interesting. Like, I think this Pokemon is like really strong because of the grass coverage and the tackle fast move, like, and obviously body slam spam. I think it's like really strong. So basically, what's cool about this meta is there seems like there's lots of kind of like pretty good, strong Pokemon. So it's going to be very interesting to see how you balance out your team. Like, I think all these Pokemon are pretty good. Like, even like Golisopod looks pretty good. Like, it's recommending here Fury Cutter. So you do okay in the things. It's saying here you beat Oikalon. Like, Golisopod looks pretty good. Even the Barbaracle has some play in the meta. Like, you have Cross Chop, Grass Knot, Stone Edge possibility. I think there's lots of cool play, but it does look like it drops off pretty quickly. Not gonna lie, because a lot of these Pokemon seem like they're sort of like different variations of other Pokemon that are higher ranked. You know?
Yeah.
Hidden Power Grass Gastrodon. I guess you could run that. That could possibly be a thing.
Technically a thing.
You could run Hidden Power Electric Gastrodon and try to bait a Pelipper into counter swapping your Gastrodon safe swap in one of the games, and then just like wreck your opponent. And then, I mean, that would only work one time, but it would be funny.
I'm kind of liking the look of Barbaracle. Like, I get what you're saying about, like, you've got to watch out for Trailblaze from Winkleone, but, like...
I mean, Wish Cash also pretty much destroys it, other than the Grass Knot coverage, but... Pelipper does pretty well, depending on the moveset you're running. Azu, Jellicent, I mean, it has Grass Knot, but... You have Fury Cutter. I don't know if Fury Cutter is the greatest fast move in this meta, but it's definitely interesting.
Well, I just looked up the Barbaracle flips the one shields against the Azu with just one Fury Cutter energy.
Okay.
And that's just going straight Grass Knot. No need to bait.
Yeah, I think Barbaracle is very interesting for sure. Samurott here, if you're looking at other Fury Cutter users, like, it would do really well into the dark types. It also can handle Deoxys defense, Greninja as a water type. So you're obviously getting completely walled by Jellicent. Pretty like Pelipper, Azu as well. You get walled by, but the bubble helps. So,
Is this Dugong you talking about Porygon 2? Or
Porygon 2? Dude, who the fuck's running Porygon?
Gotta get that Zap Cannon.
Porygon 2.
Porygon 1 is it ranked higher.
I know, but it has the unobtainable Legacy Quick Attack and Legacy Discharge.
Yeah.
So you need Quick Attack Discharge, and then that could be interesting. You're basically beating all the water types. Oh. Also requires a level 31 to like a 0, 15, 15 almost. Porygon 2 is pretty glassy. I mean, these Jellicent Azu Pelipper wins, like they seem sus with the Zap Cannon, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just me. You could run Charge Beam if you want to get crazy. There you go, your electric
Solar Beam.
fast move damage.
Get them Whiscashes out of the way.
Hyper Beam if you want all normal coverage.
That is a sought after thing in PvP.
Yeah, it's interesting. Seems like normal is a pretty good typing for sure in the meta.
Looking at Malamar at the moment.
Malamar is always one of those ones, like, I don't know, based on my personal experience, that it always looks really good on paper with its coverage, but it doesn't quite seem to be able to, like, do anything, like, do enough damage to secure certain matchups, you know? Like, the fact that its superpower is debuffing itself and it doesn't have much fast move pressure. Like, it's beating Oink alone barely. And you still have to land 2 superpowers to knock out the Oink alone. You see what I'm saying? Like, it does exert a lot of pressure, though. And especially in the lead scenario, you can put some damage. Shadow Malamar, Manadugan says. Well, there you go. Shadow Malamar, the superpower basically can one-hit the Oink alone with a lot of fast move damage, so... Shadow does look better than regular, but unfortunately we don't have Shadow, so... Yeah.
Huh. So it's got a 15-21 rating against the Serene meta, but then give it 2 Psycho Cuts energy, that becomes 21-15. Just give me a sec. Alright, I'm back. Did you miss me? You can't.
No, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a pick that Manjuan likes. Furret is number 59. Brick Break Dig. Brick Break's a really bad move, though. It's like really bad.
I mean, it's purely for baiting, right?
I think you definitely want to throw Brick Breaks against like some of the normal types, right? The Oinkalone, the Raticate. You definitely want to throw Brick Breaks. Sealio. It's definitely better.
I suspect Dig would have a higher DPE.
No.
No?
Not when Brick Break's super effective. It's 1.48. Okay. I mean, 35 energy Brick Break does 52 damage. 50 energy Dig does 64. So like Dig is doing more damage, but you can just win that straight Brick Break. I'm trying to see if there's any other interesting picks here. Like Tentacruel seems kind of interesting too. Like you obviously destroy Azu, you have play into the Pelipper, etc. You get absolutely destroyed by Jellicent, but in Great League it's a little more playable since Scald can actually chunk the Jellicent, and then if you get a debuff, you have Acid Spray you could run, so you could debuff things and like poison jabs them down. It's mainly just the Mud Boys and Jellicent that are like pretty bad for you, so it is ranked pretty low, but I honestly don't hate it.
Dugong's bringing up Lanoon. What's the case for Lanoon over Alolan Raticate?
I guess the grass salt coverage.
Oh, I was looking at Galarian Lanoon. Right.
And you don't have. Well, regular Lanoon isn't a dark type, so it has like much better matchup with Azu and the others things. Where you start to struggle is against some of the normal types. I don't know
I mean, it has
personally
tackle.
how. It does have tackle. That is interesting. You might want to consider running tackle because I don't know how good like ghost fast damage is going to be in this meta, to be honest with you, because there's so many normal and like dark types that look kind of strong. So let's see how worse it is with tackle. It's much worse. Holy shit. It goes to 2
What?
and 33.
This is with tackle.
Yeah. And then without tackle, it's 17 and 19. So, I mean, seems like tackle is pretty bad.
That's wild.
It's probably just because it's slow. Like Grass Knot and Dig are like high energy. So, yeah, I think that's the problem. It's like a pacing. It's a pacing thing with tackle. Like whereas Oinkalone has body slam, right? And Trailblaze, like Grass Knot Dig is like decent coverage, but it would benefit like heavily from having something like a body slam, right?
Ground type, the ground typing isn't particularly necessary offensively, right?
Yeah. See, if I give it body slam, it already goes up like to like even more wins with Shadow Claw. And then if I put tackle on there, it's like 19 and 16 with tackle, body slam, Grass Knot. So basically seems like a worse Oinkalon. I don't know. That's my assessment.
If you want Grass Knot,
Grass Knot or Thunder definitely is interesting coverage. It's just, again, it's a little clunky, but it's definitely good bench pressure for sure. Because Thunder's what? Grass Knot's what? 55 energy or 50?
50. Energy Ball's 55.
So Grass Knot's 50? And Thunder's 60.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And Dig is 50, so makes sense. Grass Knot and Dig are both 50, so it's 7-6. Not the slowest in the world, but it's definitely not amazing.
Thunder, as in like throwing a Thunder onto the Pelipper, not Pelipper's not running Thunder.
Shadow Wilmer actually beats Azu. I'm looking at this here.
What else does it do?
Beats Oinkalone. It beats Greninja. Raticate. Barely. Like these are close battles. Gets completely walled by Jellicent. This one is also cool, I think. There's not many dragons in this meta. Yeah, there's also the other Lanoon, which has Snarl, Body Slam, Dig, but it also has access to Gunk Shot.
Oh, yeah.
So, and you're doing really well with Jellicent, Swampert, Raichu, Wishcast, Shadow, apparently. You're losing to Azu, but I wonder if you can run Gunk Shot. How much does that do here? A Gunk Shot does 61%. So you're still losing.
You're not doing any damage with Snarl, so you got to get land 2 Gunk Shots. Or maybe like a Gunk Shot and a Body Slam.
A Gunk Shot and like a Body Slam and then a bunch of Snarl damage.
Yeah.
So it's not great, but it's definitely like a coverage option. Quagsire also has Sludge Bomb, right? So that's something else to consider. A reason why Quagsire might be used over some of the other Mud Boys, just for some of the coverage. It has Aqua Tail, Sludge Bomb, Stone Edge. You can hit back against Pelipper better than some of the other mons, but I think you want to Shadow Quagsire in order to beat Pelipper. But if we look here at Dragon, or we can do at Dragon. So Mew has a Dragon move, so Snorlax.
Mew
Gastrodon
also
is
has
hidden
Grass
power.
Knot.
Mew has Grass Knot. I mean, Electric, we already talked about how good Electric looks with Alolan Raichu, right? So you probably want to run Wild Charge. Yeah,
Or
again, you have a pacing issue, but
Dragon Claw or something. Sorry, Volt Switch Grass Knot Dragon Claw.
I don't know about Dragon Claw, but like you can look at some of the moves. It has Rock Slide. Dragon Claw is interesting. Psyshock could be interesting, but then you're getting walled by some of the dark types.
Dragon Claw is just the lowest energy move, right? So like it's mainly for baiting.
I think Psyshock's also 35, isn't it?
No, 45, I think. It's either 40 or 45. It's 45. Because it takes...
Psyshock is 45.
Yeah. Takes A9 8 charms to get there.
Shit, it is. That's crazy. I didn't know that it was that high. Oh, I think low sweep's low energy too.
Low sweep?
40, yeah, 40 damage for low sweep. There you go. Or 40 energy. You gotta run low sweep.
Buck
For the what do you call it?
For the Alolan Raticates of the web.
Yeah, you need low sweep for the Alolan Raticates. Yeah, Mew's interesting. But as I already stated before, like I don't know if I necessarily like Ghost fast move damage in this meta.
Yeah.
Seems like it kind of like hamstrings you a little bit because there's so many like normal and dark types that look pretty strong. Can someone show the Eradicate DD matchup? Why do you think Eradicate's gonna beat DD or something? Let Fish do that. I'm looking at the dragons.
We did take a look at it briefly at the beginning of the stream. Like that was one of the first things we looked at.
So Gyarados here definitely loses to Azu, right? Shadow Gyarados, whatever, as a dragon type. But did you know that Shadow Latios actually can beat Azu in certain shielding scenarios?
With Luster, what type is Luster Purge?
It's a psychic type move.
It's a psychic type.
And it hits like a friggin' truck, dude. Look how much it does. 61% to Azu.
Yep.
Neutral. And you can also drop defense. It's a 50% chance of a defense drop.
Even
look at this.
That's not helping.
So this is a double baiting scenario where you can actually win the twos as Shadow Latios versus Azu, which you think sounds crazy, right? Well, they would just never shield, right? Well, what's that saying? That's saying that if they land a Luster Purge, they can basically just two shield through you.
That's pretty crazy.
So it becomes very awkward, right? It's like you don't want to shield a Dragon Claw, but if you no shield a Luster Purge, then you might have to start shielding Dragon Claws if you want to maintain alignment, right? So I think of all the dragons, like and things with dragon typing and such, the Shadow Latios is interesting because if you look at its key wins, it destroys Raichu, you destroy DD, you beat Oinkologne, you're losing to Jellicent, but a lot of these losses, like I feel like Latios can basically just two shield through it. Like, see here? Yeah. Jellicent? Okay, you can just two shield through the Jellicent. So it looks very interesting. I'm not gonna lie. I have a friend who's loves Shadow Latios, so that's why I'm on the Latios hype train. Not necessarily in this meta, but he just loves Latios in general. And
have you got a Shadow, Amber?
I think you definitely need the Shadow for some of those sims. I have one built. How about you, Fish?
A Shadow Latios? I believe I do, yeah.
I have it built, double moved, ready to go. Yeah, like you won't be able to farm down an Azu if you don't have a Shadow Latios, unfortunately. So I think it loses some of the luster. Pardon my pun.
I
Get
don't
it?
get it, Lau.
It loses some of its luster.
No, you're gonna have to explain it to me.
I hope you're joking.
A little, yeah.
I'm sorry, Frey. Yeah, that's a problem with a lot of these custom metas, as we already talked about previously. It's one of those things where you're gonna run into like random Pokemon that like. Oh, thanks, man, Dugon. You're gonna run into random Pokemon that you might not ever have thought about saving or keeping for PvP previously, right? And then you're just gonna be like, well, I don't have a Latios, or I don't have a Alolan Raticate with return. I mean, that might be something that people don't have, right?
Yeah.
Because it's recommending here that the Alolan Raticate have return. So maybe people don't have an Alolan Raticate with return. Munchlax is not the most common Pokemon ever, and it's ranked here at number 4.
Wait.
What
the fuck is this?
Grapefruit. I don't know, man. It's a good Pokemon.
What the fuck? Gotta watch out for that grapefruit.
Yeah, it's not in the rankings. So
It'll get in your eye.
I don't know. Let's see here if there's a Pokemon called Grapefruit. No, there's only Grapple-Lock.
Grapple-Locked.
Which is a fighting type with Waterfall Surf. So I have no idea what a Grapefruit is.
Well, it beats four of my 6 Pokemon, so better bloody know what it is.
Transitioning from PvE, yeah. I mean, it will take time, but I mean, next time you get an opportunity for some of these random Pokemon, you'll think like, hey, remember that like Pokemon was like good in that one meta? Like, I should save it, right? That's why typically I save one of everything. I stopped caring so much about Little Cup because it's not really relevant competitively. But I try to save at least one of anything, just in case I need it for any custom metas or anything in the future. So
The teacher at number 4.
what?
Oh, number 5. Sorry, the teacher.
What the hell's going on here? Click on the sim and see what it opens up. We're not doing polka dot. I don't know what you're talking about.
Malamar.
Malamar's the teacher?
I think so. What if I...
What's the grapefruit?
Yeah, wow.
Okay, so Malamar is the teacher.
Yeah.
And grapefruit is... I mean, maybe it's like a Jellicent or something?
Ooh, okay, we can use this as clues, right? So, beats Pelipper. So, I think Jellicent would show a win against Pelipper on the...
Okay,
no,
so this is,
no.
Maybe this is...
No, actually, I reckon you might be right. I reckon Jellicent might be the one.
Well, let's see. Greninja.
Greninja.
Close.
Grapefruit Greninja.
I mean, it does look like a grapefruit, right? Surely. That is an interesting one. I'm trying to remember if I could find the team that Elite made for this meta.
I've taken a screenshot. I'm gonna send that to Matt.
The team that he used for a practice tournament was Oinkologne, Golisopod, Raichu, Diggersby, Azu, Wishcash. Or sorry, Jellicent.
Say it again.
Oinkalon, Golisopod, Raichu, Diggersby, Azu, and Jellicent. So, I mean, those seem like pretty normal ones. He didn't put a flying type on there, but I mean, I think Manadugon also did that practice tournament, but he said that he got clapped because his team was so bad.
So say again, Oikalone.
He's always making excuses, this guy. I swear to God. He's always got some sort of excuse for why you beat him or why he's losing. He's lagging.
I can relate to that.
He's tired. Dog ate his homework. Yeah.
So Oinkalone,
there's bugs in his Amazon. Like he's always got something he's coming up with. Or his Alexa, whatever.
What are the other three in the team?
Raichu, the Lowland version,
with
Jellicent.
Wild Charge Trailblaze?
I don't think he ran that, but whatever, who cares? And then I really don't think it matters. Jellicent and what was the other one? Diggersby. I think he said it was a bit annoying to deal with. Deoxys was kind of annoying for him to deal with, is what he told me basically. Like it wasn't like he didn't really have like things that could beat it, but like it could kind of like output damage on pretty much most things, and like even Golisopod, Jellicent don't necessarily want to take a Thunderbolt, right? So I mean Jellicent, I think Azu and Diggersby and Golisopod all do fine. I mean Golisopod, depending if you're running Shadow Claw, right? If you're weak to Jellicent, you just run Shadow Claw Aerial Ace Pod, depending, right?
I don't know, Dugong. I think Jellicent does pretty well against that line, even with the Thunderbolt on DD.
Jellicent does worse into Azu than you would think it should.
I mean, it still wins though, right?
I think you honestly have to use shields. I'm not 100% sure. Or it's like something like you can't really hex down after a double Shadow Ball.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
You lose
like if you
Azu wins with 1 HP in the ones.
Yeah, so like if you put the zeros on, you'll see like you're gonna have to throw like a Surf as well. I think like 2 Shadow Balls and a Surf.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like really awkward. Like you would think like, oh, I'm landing 2 like neutral Shadow Balls, and like you still have to throw any. Like if you try to hex down, I'm pretty sure they'll get to like an Ice Beam or something. So
unfortunately, Amber, no, there is no replacement for DD. Like it's so unique.
Do you not have any defense Deoxys? Because that was like, I mean, I don't remember last time it's been in raids, but it's been around a few times. It's like a psychic type with it. It'd be like if Mew had counter, right? So it's one of those things that it's kind of like hard to replace on a team. You could try one of the other fighting types. Probably wouldn't be quite as good, but definitely something to consider. Well, I would personally say, Frey, that like you cannot trade DD, right? So if you really wanted to use it and you only, I would just build the best one you have if you do have access to it. With some of those Pokemon, like you can't be super choosy, right? Right, Fish? You agree with me?
Yeah, totally.
It's like some of those mythicals and legendary Pokemon, like sometimes you don't always get the perfect IVs. I mean, don't build one like Manadugons, hopefully, but I mean, sometimes you can't always get the perfect IVs on the legendaries and mythicals. So if you really want to use something, I would say just build it. And then if you get a better one in the future, you can always build a second one. Like personally, for me, I have 2 Defense Deoxys built because one has Thunderbolt and the other has Rock Slide, and I got sick of TMing between the two. because obviously, TMs are kind of like not the most common things, right? So, not saying that. I mean, it only has 3 charge moves, but still. Yeah, my DD is fine. I mean, I rated DD quite a bit though when it was out because of Ultra League and stuff too. So, um, like I actually have 2 DDs built for Great League, and I have a hundo. And I have a 98% shadow. Or sorry, not shadow, shiny. Could have been a shundo. Very useless shundo, but
I'm not minding Noctowl and Galissapod as a core. Like, it's got a
other
few
than
threats,
Raichu.
But... Sorry?
Other than like an electric threat, but other than that, they seem pretty solid.
Galissapod would do pretty well into it, especially with Fury Cutter.
I mean, yeah, it's the same. It would be the same thing as Greninja, right? Like, if the Raichu wants to, I'm pretty sure they could just.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure they could just like Volt Switch you down.
Yeah.
If they really wanted to, right? So it's not the worst. Like, you have play. I mean, that's why I like Noctowl as well, because you do have that Shadow Ball coverage. So, basically, have ability to like do really well at things too. So. Well, Galissapod balls like Blood Boys and stuff, right? So.
Yeah, that's its biggest claim to fame.
But it is glassy.
How would it do against Diggersby? Oh, let's go, Amber.
How does what do against Diggersby?
Galissapod.
Oh, that's awesome, Amber. It's fine, especially with Fury Cutter, because like Liquidation will do a lot. With Shadow Claw, I'm assuming like Diggersby just does pretty fine there because you can basically never farm it down, right? And again, Quick Attack would really help Diggersby in this matchup specifically because you're doing those neutral fast move damage as opposed to resisted mud shots, right?
Diggersby is winning the 2s though, and that's just with straight Fire Punch.
I mean, how much does a Scorching Sand do versus
25% for a 0.56 DPE. Fire Punch has high DPE.
But they do about the same damage.
2% more
actually
damage.
Less damage. So, I mean, if you start getting Scorching Sand debuffs, like, it might be worth it to honestly just throw Scorching Sands, like, because the quick attacks are doing a lot. It depends, honestly. If like this is with Fury Cutter, it's like super close. So you can imagine with Shadow Claw, like,
I mean, I'm happy with that matchup. Like, I would like, I'm happy enough with what I'm seeing here to think, okay, Galissapod, I can beat Diggersby with it.
I mean, with Fury Cutter, I would say it definitely can beat it. But the quick attacks really do add up, eh?
So you're really, you're worried about other waters, essentially, the other non-ground waters. So you wouldn't like a Jellicent, you wouldn't like a Azumarill, Pelipper.
Which one?
Greninja as the Galissapod user. Hey,
again, it's just
with the raid.
comes down to the Golisopod has a very good, very diverse moveset. So like Greninja would be fine if you're running like Fury Cutter X Scissor or whatever.
Sorry, did I say Greninja? Golisopod.
I don't know. What about Golisopod?
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what you're worried about as a Golisopod user.
Is what?
Is non-ground waters.
Well, like I said, then if you're running Shadow Claw, then you're like much better into things like Jellicent, Azu, right?
Yeah, but
so
you don't want to run Shadow Claw.
I mean, it will. I think it will just entirely depend on what your opponent's 6 are.
Yeah, I guess you can TM back and forth, can't
you? At least you have the flexibility there, right? Which is why I think it's like a decent pick.
Yeah.
Because like you can tailor its moveset based on what you need from it during that week. So.
Just want to quickly acknowledge, hey, SS Dawn and Pika Wawa, welcome in.
Yo, what's up?
How was Bueno's stream?
SS Storm with a little bald and famous in chat. You love to see it. That's a famous Lyle Jeffs 3 emote.
We are currently going through the Serene domain for Battle Frontier. It looks.
I think we're pretty much done. It looks very balanced, I would say, which is nice. There is sort of hard counters, but they seem to sort of have play into each other depending on shields and energy, right? So, I definitely think it looks like a pretty strong meta. Yes, that's exactly right.
Fish on a hot tin roof.
So I think it looks like a decent meta based on what I've seen so far, and in the practice ones that I've seen. So I'm definitely looking forward to see how this shapes out in the Battle Frontier landscape coming forward.
So I think we're done. I think we can just send all of Bueno's viewers off to someone else. If you have just arrived and you are playing in Battle Frontier this cycle, then you can check out the VOD. I'll also at some point today record a 6-minute summary of this one and the enchanted meta that we did last night. Raid on, player.
This morning we did the enchanted.
Yes, last night for me, this morning for Lyle. Also, okay, so we've got the little holiday cup breakdown coming up on, I think it was Thursday, but we also have to pick a time for Primordial.
So we just have one more meta to do, right?
Yep.
I mean, we're not in any rush for that other one technically because it's not starting up until like I think the second week of January, basically. So we still have like another almost 2 weeks. So I think let's not try to push it too much. We'll go over the little holiday on Thursday, and then maybe if we have time on early next week, we can do it maybe like New Year's or something. We'll see.
All right, cool. So keep an eye out on the socials, Pallet Town PvP on Twitter, or just follow Bold and Famous here. He'll retweet it.
I might if I remember.
Who else is streaming?
I was going to suggest that we raid up Pogodoms.
Okay.
If you wanted to, because he's one of the smaller streamers right now, and he looks like he's only
48.
Yeah, 48. He looks like he's done about 10, 15 battles, so he's still got a few sets left in him. I mean, House Stark and they don't really need help with their viewership, so.
Oh, mate.
I mean,
48's a good day for me.
48's a good day. What?
Yeah. If I was getting 48 viewers, I'd be pretty stoked. Especially at this time slot. Like on my when I used to stream on Sunday nights, my time, 48 was pretty achievable.
Dude, you can do better than that. Don't worry, man. Just you gotta have positive thinking.
I mean, I'm not busted up about it or anything.
Check out this little doll I got, or little Lego thing I got.
Where'd you get that from?
My sister, actually my nephew, he's only 3 years old. He picked it out for me.
That's so cool.
So
Like
it's like a little
frisky
mega
thing.
block thing. I had to kind of assemble it together. So it's a little quack sleeve.
How many pieces?
It was maybe like 15 pieces or something.
Yeah,
Not
wow. It doesn't look
too
like
many.
it's a 15-piece thing.
Because there's like it's kind of like intricate. Like actually it moves like this, and then like kind of moves around. So all the pieces were kind of individualized so that it could kind of like get some movements. So
Yeah, cool. All right. We're gonna be raiding
Perfect.
into DOMs in 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are.
Perv, what the fuck?